I'd like you to meet Jesse and Jake, two 9-year-old twins that we just finished making face castings for. This video is about face castings. Typically, a face cast is something like this that you see without ears. But with Jake and Jesse, we did about 3/4 of the head to include the ears. Okay, guys. Thanks again. And we'll finish up these face casts and have them out. I guess they're going to be a Father's Day present, huh? Yep. Yep. Okay. Thanks, guys. Materials and techniques haven't changed much over the last 20 years for life casting. But today in our studio, we're going to demonstrate 4 relatively new products to make life casting much easier. The first is fiber gel. Fiber gel is an alginate with a fiber in it to make it extra strong and also delays shrinkage. The second is Moldies, which is a water-soluble hair release which replaces petroleum jelly. And the third is a great studio tool known as AlgaSlow, which helps you manipulate alginate. And then finally, we have a new plaster bandage called Pop Art, which equals or exceeds the quality of the current bandages now in use. So come, let's look at the materials that we need to get started with. The mother mold, or rigid shell mold, is made up of a number of plaster gauze bandages cut to specific sizes for ease of application. Each face casting requires 3 rolls of bandages. Each roll is 5 inches wide by 3 yards long. Here we're using Pop Art as they are lower in cost and higher in quality than any other bandage of the same type. As you just saw from the diagram, each set of bandages are combined in 3s. This gives the shell extra strength and saves considerable amount of time when the bandages are applied 3 at once. Though a ruler is very handy for measuring the lengths of bandages, it's easier to mark the lengths on a sheet of paper and then simply match the bandage to the lengths, then cut. A sharp scissors is a must since the bandages are thick and not so easily cut. Set of bandages and lay them out in an X shape so that they can be picked up quicker. After the bandages are cut, we measure out 16 ounces or 1 pound of fiber gel on our scale. Later we'll combine the fiber gel with 54 ounces of 80-degree water. We need cotton fiber to embed in the fiber gel. Fiber gel is an alginate, and alginates are like Teflon. They don't stick to anything. But by embedding the fiber into the mold material, the plaster bandages can grip to it and the mold comes off all in one piece. A 6-inch piece is cut from the rolled cotton, then pulled apart in the middle. The inside is fuzzier than the outside. Jesse has been protected with plastic bags. One is for his upper torso, which we cut a head hole. The second covers his lap. To avoid hair tangles with fiber gel, I'm going to apply Moldies, a water-soluble cream and hair conditioner. Unlike petroleum jelly, which we used to use, Moldies easily washes off. Anytime you're making a mold which includes body hair, it's important that you treat the hair well with this product. If you're molding a complete head, you would work Moldies down to the roots of the hair. The hair is then combed and a second coat applied well to the surface of the hair. But since I'm only going to make a mold of the face, I'll apply the Moldies only around the hairline. I rub it on from ear to ear, including the upper forehead, to be certain to cover all of the hair area. I'll then wipe off the excess later. Moldies will actually allow capturing hair detail, though the weight of the molding material will press it down somewhat. The fine detail it will produce in a face or head casting is striking. We can't forget the eyebrows or eyelashes. You can pull a few hairs out if you don't treat them. I use petroleum jelly on these two areas, since Moldies can sting if it gets into the eyes. Just take a small fingerful and apply it with the direction of the hair on the eyebrow. The added bulk actually gives the eyebrow a bit more dimension and interest in the final casting. Then ask your model to close their eyes and apply the petroleum jelly to the eyelashes with downward strokes to be certain the eyelashes are well lubricated. I've cut two pieces of paper 4.5 inches wide and about 2 to 2.5 feet long. This will further protect the hair area. I place it just below the hairline and gently tie it in the back. Then I take a second piece as a precaution and do the same. We're now ready to mix and apply the fiber gel. Pre-measured the fiber gel. We'll use 1 pound or 16 ounces, and I've already measured out 54 ounces of warm water. I use a shallow mixing bowl as it makes applying the fiber gel easier. I pour in the water first and then add the pre-measured alginate. Always remember when mixing, you add the powder into the water. It makes a smoother mix. Fiber gel cannot adequately be mixed by hand because of its thicker consistency, so you'll need a jiffy mixer or a similar type mixer and an electric drill. I mix the fiber gel for about 30 seconds or until it's smooth. We begin applying the fiber gel from the top down. This allows gravity to work with us. Notice how thick the fiber gel is. For those used to working with other alginates, there's a tendency to want to mix it thinner. But because the fibers in the fiber gel absorb so much water, it decreases the coefficient of friction against the skin. So a thinner layer sometimes will not stay put. So we use fiber gel at the consistency of wet peanut butter. The advantage is that there's very few runs and wasted material. Note how quickly I could work leaving the nose for last. I place the material on the skin with a pushing motion. This eliminates air bubbles. Air bubbles are almost certainly to form, however, in the corner of the eye next to the nose, no matter what you do. So that area requires extra attention. What I do is take my index finger at the corner of the eye and act as if I'm wiping a tear out. And once I do that, I cover over the eye. Also, the ears are the most delicate areas as they are so thin. Gravity tends to pull the material downward, so you have to keep checking this area as well as under the chin. When I get to the mouth, I ask the model to part their lips somewhat and push some of the fiber gel between the lips. This provides much better definition on a cast. Now that I've finished covering the face, I'm preparing to spray the surface with Algislow to retard the surface from setting. Before I do, I check the eyes and nose again. If you forget this, your mold will almost certainly have distortions or air bubbles in those areas. Algislow is an especially useful studio product for most alginates. Not only will it retard set time, it will bond layers of alginate and soften the surface. It's especially useful in larger projects to delay surface set times, giving you more time to embed fiber. I spray the surface until I can see the blue liquid. That tells me I've put on enough. I continue to check for coverage voids and spot an area that's missing material. Our model is a little ticklish, but we get through it okay. The under the chin and the eyes are checked again and adjusted. Once I'm satisfied, I quickly apply the cotton by simply touching it gently to the surface of the mold. The Algislow treated surface is sticky, and the fiber easily attaches. Try to get the fibers around the outside edges first. The cotton fibers are really clumped on. I'll have to wait a few minutes until the fiber gel firms up to pull off the excess. I'm now ready to apply plaster gauze bandages. we want to put on 2 layers in the following sequences. Before we apply the bandages, I can now take off the excess cotton, place the water bowl in the model's lap, and take our first 9-inch set of bandages from the pile. I dip it in the water and apply it to the right side of the face, just next to the ear. I follow that by another 9-inch bandages on the left side of the face. That's topped off with a 9-inch bandage across the forehead until the entire head is outlined. This layer is the print coat. It's important to smooth each bandage down against the surface of the fibergel, as any air bubble between the bandage and the fibergel result in an unsightly mold dimple. And then one 9-inch bandage under the chin. Five-inch bandages are then applied over the ears and smoothed down inside the ear very carefully. I take another set of 5-inch bandages and apply them over the eye and down the cheek. A 4-inch set of bandages applied over the mouth. I follow this up with 3 sets of 1-inch bandages down the nose. Then I begin all over again with a second layer of bandages, but this time I don't have to be so careful in the smoothing. The second layer of bandages goes on quicker since they don't have to be so precisely applied and smoothed out. This layer serves to reinforce the print coat. The bandages for the second coat are applied in the same sequence as the print coat. When the second coat is completed, I take a set of 9-inch bandages, dip them in the water, and fold them in half and place them at the edges of the mold. This added reinforcement is important. Without it, your mold would tend to expand at the edges when the casting material is applied. This distorts the sides and under the chin, so take your time and add these reinforcements. When creating a mold, you must be attentive that you don't apply your bandages too far back, as you'll not be able to easily remove it without damaging it. Note that I fold back an edge that gets too high on the head. This would cause the mold to lock on the head if it's set. I remove the water bowl and then begin the demolding process. The excess fiber gel is removed first. It's more difficult to tear due to the fiber content, so care must be taken so that you are not going to rip the interior of the mold as you're doing it. I'm feeling the shell mold to test for setting. The pop art bandages set quickly, and with the addition of several teaspoons of salt, set even faster. This video is in real time, so you can see how quickly the bandages have set. I asked Jesse how he feels, and he gives me a thumbs up. It's a new experience for a 9-year-old, and he did a great job for us. The mold removal begins by standing behind the model. I first remove the paper protectors, and they easily slip out. Remember, your model has excess weight on his face, so you should be prepared to support the head. When the alginate dries, it creates a suction against the skin, so the next step is to begin to break the suction all around the perimeter of the mold. Just gently insert your finger between the skin and the mold and slip it around the edge. Care needs to be taken around both ears. The ear needs to be removed from the mold using your fingers. Don't pull against it, or you might damage the mold. The ear should just pop right out. You have a particular jeopardy if your model is as ticklish as Jesse. Some of the fiber gel got on Jesse's shirt, and I'm removing it, trying not to rip the mold at the very edge. There, that's free. Now I can work on the other ear. The chin to break the suction in that area. Tell Jesse to blow hard. This blowing releases the fiber gel inside and makes it much easier to remove the mold damage-free. As he blows, I put a little forward pressure outward and downward on the mold. Slowly it begins to come off. Oops, it's still stuck on the tickle ear. A little more prying with a finger and the mold is free. Ah, it's almost flaw-free. There are no air bubbles to speak of, and the detail is outstanding. The mold is inspected to determine any flaws or if anything is marring the surface.